Welcome to Mysteries Niger. I'm your host, Esther. There's a woman at the waiting room at the hospital. She's pacing up and down. She's panicked. She's scared. She's prayerful. Right beside her is her family, and they're praying with her. They're hoping things turn out well. They're comforting her. They're just there for her so she doesn't have to go through that alone. They're probably praying, Lord, please, I'm going to repent. I'm going to stop sinning. You see this one thing that I keep doing over and over again, even if I keep promising I'm never going to do it again? Yeah, this is the last time. I promise I'm never going to do it again. In fact, I'm going to help the poor. I'm going to start a charity. I'm going to do, oh God, I promise you, I'm going to give you heaven and earth. I know it's already yours, but I can still give it to you. I'm going to be the most righteous person on earth. I'm never going to sin ever again. In fact, when you look down at earth, you can see me in the crowd, glowing, shining from my purity. Hand to my chest, please. This is the last thing I'll ever ask of you, please. Am I the only person who does that? You know, when you're in a pickle, you promise God everything. That one nasty habit or character that you know is bad, suddenly you're using it as a bargaining chip. Lord, get me out of this pickle and I'm gonna stop that bad, nasty character. You should stop anyways, but for some reason you think you have a chance of bargaining with God. Okay, maybe I'm the only person who does that. It wouldn't be strange if this family was doing that in that moment because they really needed divine intervention. As they're pacing and praying, they're worried. And they have very good reason to be worried because in that very same waiting room is another family. They're intertwined, but another family that at that moment wishes they could have nothing to do with them. Another family in that room glaring at them, praying vehemently as well, for almost entirely different reasons, but they do have a couple of shared reasons. Suddenly, the door opens. A doctor walks in their white coat. They look very somber. That probably made their hearts sink. Oh no, bad news. If it were good news, they'd look excited. Yeah? Probably the doctor sighs a little. We're sorry. And now their heart is sinking even more. And if they tell them, it was just too late. There was nothing we could do. We wish we had more time. He's dead. The pain in that moment, definitely unbearable. Friends can't believe it. I just saw him a few hours ago. What do you mean he's dead? The family, what do you mean he's dead? The woman? Well, how do you expect her to feel? After just hearing her husband, the father of her nursing child, and the father of her unborn child, which she's currently 3 months pregnant, is dead. The husband's family, now they're ready for war because the person who's responsible for the death of their son is in the same room with them. The husband's family calls police. They show up. Everyone to the station. We need everyone's statement. The grieving wife, her mother, and her brother get into one of the cop cars. The cop gets into the car and they drive towards the station. He takes a different exit, the cop does, and according to report, they divert their route to the couple's home. The cop is reported to wait by the car and doesn't get into the house with them for some reason, whether it's to keep watch or just to remove himself from whatever's about to happen in the house and make sure he's not involved, whatever the reason may be, but he's reported not to get into the house with them. Grieving wife, her mother and her brother walk into the home, and according to report, they allegedly tell the maid to clean up the floor and the house, but to leave behind certain pieces of evidence that are meant to corroborate the grieving wife's story or statement at the station as to what happened in their home few hours before her husband died in that very home. According to report as well, the murder weapon allegedly disappears on that same night, after which the cop ends up driving the mother, the brother, and the grieving wife to the station. By the time they get there, the others have already written their statement, the family of the husband, his friend. So the police has an idea what happened that night, but they need to hear from Maryam Sanda, the wife of the murdered husband, Bilyaminu Bello, who is suspected at that time to have stabbed her husband to death. Before discussing the crime itself, it's important to understand the people at the center of the story. There's a psychological concept known as the fundamental attribution error. It sounds complicated, but believe me, it's simple. It's a concept that humans are remarkably confident when explaining other people's actions. We see someone lash out in anger and conclude, oh, they're a violent person. We see someone lie and we conclude they're dishonest. If they tell you the time, best to check the time yourself. We see someone commit a terrible act and we conclude we've understood who they are. In fact, we saw it coming a mile away. We always knew that was who they were. We always knew it was gonna happen. Psychologists have repeatedly found that we are often wrong because we usually judge people based on what we see. But what we see is actually always what people want us to see. We usually see just the tip of the iceberg. So, inasmuch as today's case is about a couple, a marriage that ends in tragedy, can this story really definitively tell us who these people are and where? No, because you can't judge a person by one action. This is not to solicit for anyone, but for us to keep an open mind, then do your own research. Should we even judge at the end of the day? No, we should know of these cases so we're aware, but it's not our place to judge. So who were these people? Bilyaminu came from a prominent Nigerian family. His father was Bilyaminu Bello, a well-known politician who served as a former national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, commonly known as the PDP. Growing up in such an environment meant that Billy, was no stranger to influence, public attention, or political connections. Because if your father's already a member of a political party, it's common or more likely you're gonna go into that yourself as you get older. Even if you have passions or a career, eventually all roads will lead you back to politics. By most accounts, he was educated, he was ambitious, and he had opportunities many Nigerians could only dream about. Friends and associates often described him as sociable and personable, and like many young men from influential families, his future appeared very promising, which we could believe and should believe it was very promising. The expectations surrounding him were considerable, and his family had status. His future seemed secure, and eventually he would find someone he intended to build that future with, a woman named Maryam Sanda. As we've established, Billy came from a wealthy family. Is it safe to assume Maryam came from a family of such caliber as well? Definitely. Maryam Sanda came from a respected family. She was educated and moved with similar circles as Billy. She was not an unknown figure. She was thrusted into the spotlight as she came from a background that many Nigerians would describe as privileged. And the two young people, Billy and Sanda, at least on the surface, they seemed like a natural match. They were educated, they came from prominent families, they shared similar social environments, and eventually their relationship progressed towards marriage. To outsiders, it looked like the beginning of a successful life together, the kind of story that families celebrate, the kind of stories people assume will have a happy ending. But what people didn't know was that, according to reports, allegedly, that was Billy's second marriage. There's nothing wrong with that, but also according to reports by friends, Billy was married when he met Sanda. They started to see each other. Billy is still married. Sanda begins to get jealous. According to report, Maryam begins to get jealous of Billy's wife, extremely jealous, and was so possessive of Billy that eventually Billy divorces his first wife for Maryam. Due to how jealous she was and possessive she was, he couldn't enjoy his marriage with his first wife peacefully. She made it clear, I have you or no one else can. Leave your wife for me. So to make her happy and have some ounce of peace, he eventually left his first wife. Then they got married. Now, it was a beautiful wedding. It was beautiful. Gorgeous wedding dresses, smiles on their faces. Everyone's happy. It looks like, there's a belief in Nigeria that people from the south and the east of Nigeria are the wealthiest, especially people from the south. They are the wealthiest in the country, but the northerners appear to be extremely rich. But you never ever know. You never know until they have a huge event or an occasion or a reason to celebrate and spend money. You see the money they display and you go, I tend to forget these people are also very business-minded, are actually wealthy. I tend to forget these people are actually most of the officials in power because they hardly flaunt it. But when you see events like weddings and you get reminded that there's actually money in that region. We just feel like it's only in the south and the other parts of the country because those parts tend to showcase the money. Anyways, they have a beautiful wedding. They get married and everyone's like, they look so great together. Happily ever after, here they come. And for some time, it must have been blissful, peaceful even. They get pregnant. They have their first child. A few months later, they get pregnant again with their second child. During this time, Billy is said to hang out with his friends at times, and every single time he would be out to hang out with friends, according to reports by the friends, his phone would just keep going off. Phone calls, phone calls, phone calls. Who? Maryam. And he'd answer, "Hey, what's going on? Where are you? What time are you coming home? Are you on your way? You still there?" Hounding him with questions and wanting him to be back already, and he can't even spend quality time with the friends. He'd be out of the house, just left home. 30 minutes later, she'd start calling about when he's gonna be back. And he'd be like, "I'm not even there yet. I haven't even met up with my friends yet. I'm still on my way. And you're already asking when I'm gonna be back?" She'd hang up. 30 minutes later, she's gonna call him. "Are you done? On your way home?" And he'd be like, "No." Every 30 minutes, every hour, she'd call and call and call. The friends can't even spend quality time with him because his phone keeps going off. He keeps having to answer his wife and talk to her. Most times he'd just cut the gathering short and head home just for peace to reign. And it got so bad to the point his friends said they all decided, we're never going to hang out with him outside again. We'll visit him at home instead. That way, at least we can enjoy our stay together because he's at home. He won't be answering phone calls about when he's gonna be back. So the friends cultivated the habit of visiting him at home instead and spending time with him in his house. So on November 18th, 2017, at this time, Maryam is 39 years old. Her husband is in his 40s, I believe, early 40s. She's at home with her family. Husband is at home when he suddenly has a visit from his friend. One of his friends, Ibrahim Muhammad, shows up at the house to visit his friend, Maryam's husband, Billy. He's welcomed into the home. They stay in the lounge room on the ground floor and they start to discuss with each other, have fun, hang out together, and do some shisha. While that's happening, Maryam is upstairs on the upper floor when suddenly she rushes downstairs, signals at Billy, "Come up, I need to talk to you." Billy gets up, tells the friend, "I'll be back," heads up with her. They head back to their bedroom. Suddenly, Ibrahim is hearing commotions all the way downstairs happening upstairs. He's getting a little uncomfortable. Really? Are they really fighting? I mean, she came down to get him. She came down to get him to go upstairs so she could fight him upstairs. I'm here, visitor. So you know how uncomfortable that situation could get, because you'd feel like maybe they should have waited till I left before fighting. I guess it really has to go down. So he's getting comfortable. He's just waiting, hoping the fight ends soon, hoping it's just a slight argument or misunderstanding and it's gonna just die down really quickly and the friend would back downstairs. But after some time of them angrily going at it at each other, Maryam sends the maid, according to report, to come down and get the friend, Ibrahim. The friend goes upstairs with the maid to the bedroom. When he walks in there, he's just knocked out of his socks because right there in the room is Maryam holding onto his friend's shirt by the neck, and the friend is holding on to her garment as well, and they're arguing, they're fighting. He's trying to de-escalate things, asking what's going on, what's happening. Maryam tells the friend that she just gained access to the friend's phone, her husband's phone. Not that she went snooping, but she gained access and she saw things that she was very upset about in her husband's phone. The friend asks, "What did you see?" And she goes, "I saw a nude photo of another woman in my husband's phone. I don't want to hear anything from him. I don't want an apology. I don't want anything. I don't want explanation. I don't want anything. I just want him to divorce me right here, right now. He has to divorce me today." The friend's like, "Okay, can we talk about this calmly? Can you guys let go of each other's throat?" No, he has to divorce me this very minute, right here, right now. Otherwise, I'm never letting him go. He has to give me what I want. Probably the friend is trying to talk sense into them. You have a baby, a newborn baby. So can you just, relax a little, calm down for a minute, and we can talk this through? Eventually, they let go of each other's throats. And according to report, she walked towards the door, and by the side of the door, she grabbed a bottle that was there, breaks it on the wall, bottle, launches at her husband. The friend comes right in between them, grabs her by the wrist and says, no, 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 tries to stop her from getting to her husband. And the husband uses the opportunity to go around her and collected the bottle from her. She's furious. Now the friend is shocked, scared. I mean, should I even be here? Should my friend still be here? Should we still be here right now? Really? And the husband was like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this bottle right now so she doesn't get her hands on it again. He takes the bottle downstairs outside to the trash can and disposes of it. Walks back into the house, waits for a while, nothing. So he's thinking, okay, probably the situation has de-escalated. Let me go back to the room and see if we can talk now. He walks back into the room and she's still at it. She keeps yelling at him, trying to grab onto his clothes. According to report by the friend, the witness, she's still going at it, yelling. He struggles with her again and pushes her onto the bed. Then he sits on a chair in the room and just decides he's not going to indulge her anymore. She gets up, she keeps yelling, you have to divorce me right now. You have to end this marriage. I don't want to marry you anymore. And just saying all manner of things, saying whatever it is she's feeling on the inside, she's saying it out loud. The husband decides to not engage with her anymore. He ignores her, never responds anymore, and this infuriates her even more because now it feels like she's fighting herself. She allegedly grabs a perfume bottle on the dresser, smashes it on the dresser, launches at him to stab him with the broken perfume bottle. He gets up quickly, grabs her by the wrists, gets the bottle out of her hand. Now he's not feeling safe in that space. He goes downstairs. The friend comes down. She follows right behind them and she keeps yelling at him, fighting. And again, no engagement. She walks over, grabs a knife, walks back to the husband and tries to stab him. Now the friend and the husband tackle her again and get rid of the knife from her, allegedly. And according to this same report by the witness, she does try to stab him with a knife 3 to 4 more times on that night, minus the bottle and the perfume bottle. So if you add that, that's about 5 to 6 different attempts if the report is true. At this point, the friend is feeling this is a very risky situation. This is very highly dangerous situation. So he calls Billy's uncle and Billy's cousin. Can you guys come over, please? This is what's happening. It's very dangerous. Someone needs to talk to her. Family needs to talk to her. I've tried, but at the end of the day, I'm a friend and it seems like she's not going to listen to me. So she needs family to talk to her. Please come. The uncle shows up, Billy's cousin, and they talk to her. They try to de-escalate situation, and eventually the situation seems to be de-escalated. Billy and Ibrahim leave the house to the ATM to withdraw some money so they could repair Maryam's car, because apparently her car had been faulty and the husband was intending to fix the car for her regardless. So at this point, he's looking for any reason to leave the house. So he's like, yeah, I need to go get cash for the repairs of her car. So bye. He leaves. He heads to the ATM with his friend Billy. They withdraw some cash for the repairs of Miriam's car. So the situation seemed to have died down at the time, and I think the cousin decided to leave. The uncle was still behind at the house waiting for Ibrahim to be back before leaving. Ibrahim reports Billy looked really uncomfortable and hesitant to head back home because he wasn't sure if she was still very upset at him still. He tells them he's not really looking forward to going home, but he's gonna just hold off a little to make sure that she's asleep before he heads home. At about 11 p.m., he heads home. Gets home, the uncle is still there. The uncle talks to them one more time just to make sure everyone's calm and over the intense emotions, just to make sure everyone's safe before leaving. Then he leaves. After the uncle leaves, not long after, the altercation begins all over again, but this time, no one to come in between them. And when she picked up a knife one more time, before this time, Ibrahim already has different cuts. From every single time she picks up a knife and launches at him, and it has to be battled out of her hand. Every single time a knife is taken from her hand, Billy always gets a cut. Billy already has different cuts, but this time, she grabs the weapon. There's no one to come in between them, giving Billy a chance to take the weapon out of her hand. So she launches at him. According to the police beliefs, she stabs him in the chest, in the stomach, and on the thigh, because according to his autopsy, he had stab wounds on his chest, his stomach, and on his thigh. So after the stabbing, the help is being called. Billy is being rushed to the hospital. The family members all arrive, and Billy's uncle is at the hospital with the rest of the family. They're all hoping that he can be saved, but they're being told that it was too late and he couldn't be saved. So Billy's uncle ends up calling Ibrahim, who was there just a few hours ago. Remember, the uncle met Ibrahim there, so he now had to call Ibrahim and tell him Billy is dead. Ibrahim couldn't believe it. I just saw him a few hours ago. Oh my god, I just saw him a few hours ago. What do you mean he's dead? He rushes to the hospital, and now eventually everyone ends up at the police station for statements. Five or 6 days later, Maryam is arraigned by the prosecutors to court, and she is being charged for culpable homicide. Her defense lawyer tells the court that she is a nursing mother and should not be held in prison during her trial, but she should be offered bail. She's a nursing mother and needs to be able to properly care for her baby, so she should be held, she should be offered bail, and at the very least, if she's not being offered bail, she should be held at police custody instead of prison, like police jail cell instead of prison, because brutality in jail cell is nothing compared to the one in prison. The court was like, no, we're not going to listen to that. Alongside Maryam was her mother and her brother and the maid, arrested as well of tampering with evidence. They were offered bail at first and they were investigated and eventually found not guilty. When that happened, most people believed that, like the public and the netizen spectators, everyone believed the mother must have been guilty, according to people's suspicion that the mom was just too wealthy to face consequences, because the mother previously served as an executive director at ASO Savings and Loans. That was a very prominent position. She came from a wealthy family. They had money. So if the late husband's family were to come after them with everything they had, they were believed by the public to also have enough to stand their grounds and fight the battle. So most people believed the parents, the mother definitely must have tampered with the crime scene and evidence alongside the brother and the maid. But at this point, it's just allegations and rumors. The mother, the brother, and the maid are being let go. She stands trial. During her trial, which lasted 2 years, remember she was already 3 months pregnant as at the time her husband was killed, she gives birth to her baby and she ends up having health complications that required her to get medical attention, and she was provided the medical attention at which point her lawyer, according to reports, tried to use the opportunity to get her some bail, but it was again denied. She was tried based off of the last to be seen policy, which is, are you the last person to see this person alive? Then you should know what happened to that person. Given that some people, at least 3 people, saw Billy alive the night of, but they all left, and the last person to have been with him, who would possibly see him alive last, was Maryam. It was believed by the court that she knew exactly what happened to him. There were no witnesses to what happened. So, Maryam, can you come up to the stand and tell us what happened? Maryam walks up to the stand. Your Honor, people of the court, on that evening, I needed to make a phone call. So I picked up my own husband's phone instead of mine. For whatever reason, I picked up his phone instead to make a phone call. Not because I'm snooping around. No. I am not that kind of wife. I would never go looking for a reason to cry. I needed to make a phone call. So I took my husband's phone and I went to his gallery, because in my understanding, you make phone calls in a gallery. So I went to the gallery, and right then and there, I saw the unthinkable. I saw a nude photo of a woman in my husband's phone. I was sad, devastated, rightfully angry. So I went downstairs and peacefully called him upstairs to ask him why. He came upstairs and I asked him, what is this? Billy, what is this? I needed to make a phone call and I lost my way to your gallery and now I found this and it was fate. What is this? And Billy, well, what could he say? So I told him I wanted a divorce, which he couldn't respond. Nothing. I didn't get it. I don't know, Your Honor. And family came. We talked about it, and it was resolved. Everything was resolved. My anger dissipated. I was fine. He was fine. And we're looking at the bright side. We've got a beautiful family. So now I'm calm. I go upstairs to the room to sleep, but then I needed to charge my phone, so I came downstairs my phone charger. When I came down for the charger, the minute Billy saw me, he got up and attacked me. He pushed me to the floor, and as I fell, I hit the shisha bottle and it fell, shattered. Billy got on top of me to attack me. I struggled and he fell as well, fell on the broken shards of the shisha bottle. So I grabbed him. Oh, my loving husband. I held him in my arms and I took out the shards, wrapped him up with a cloth. Then I went out for help and help came. And Your Honor, that's what happened. Remember when the police went to the house to search the crime scene and log everything down? They saw a broken shisha bottle on the floor. Yes, that was it. Were those her exact words? No. Sorry, I was too dramatic. But according to media reports, again, that was her testimony on stand. Could be accurate. Could be that was exactly what she said. Could be it's exaggerated. Could be it's inaccurate or incorrect completely or totally untrue. I searched high and low for actual footage of her confession, but couldn't find it. According to the widely reported media reports, that was her confession, or that was her testimony, her side of the story on stand. And the police did mention that there was a broken shards of shisha bottle at the home when they went to search the crime scene. But initial help that arrived when she called for help initially for the husband, all data to the police that when they arrived to render help to Billy, the shisha bottle wasn't broken. It was totally unbroken. The cuts on his chest, stomach, and thigh were made by, say, a knife or a curved piece of glass. Because, for one, the thickness of the glass would be one way to figure out what the murder weapon was. Was it a fine, straight cut? Was it a jagged, thick cut? Or even the direction of the stabbing? Does it indicate the weapon was curved or straight? Because those are ways you can tell. Those are ways investigators and doctors and pathologists can tell what the murder weapon was. So we don't even need to confirm, was the shisha bottle broken before or after Billy was attacked, if we can clearly tell what the murder weapon was. So based on who last saw Billy alive and who else could have been in the house and the nature of the attack, the statements by the witnesses, in January of 2020, Justice Yusuf Halilu convicted Maryam Sanda and sentenced her to death by hanging after finding her guilty of culpable homicide. This verdict sparked intense nationwide debate, but Maryam wasted no time to file a court appeal. The minute she was sentenced to death, she filed a court appeal. Reportedly, the Court of Appeal upheld the conviction and sentence and still sentenced her to death.
Accordingly, I hereby sentence Maryam Sanda to death by hanging until she dies. This I have done, believing
In 2025, the current president of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, was planning to grant pardon to certain inmates who were convicted to capital punishments and I think other types of punishment as well. On the list of the people who were to receive pardon from Tinubu was Maryam Sanda. She was on the list of the people about to receive grand pardon from the president, no longer on death row, probably even out of prison. Once the public heard about it, everyone was upset. Why? Eventually, her name was taken off the list of people to be issued a pardon, but she still benefited from it even though she did not receive a pardon. President Bola Tinubu granted her clemency, which commuted her sentence from capital punishment of death by hanging to 12 years in prison. And that was in October of 2025. But just a month after receiving the clemency, in December of 2025, the Supreme Court nullified the presidential pardon, and a 5-member panel ruled that the executive intervention was inappropriate because her appeal was still pending. Because after the first appeal was denied, she filed an appeal again, I think, according to report, and the second appeal was still pending. So when she was offered clemency, the Supreme Court nullified it on the reasoning that her appeal was still pending, and they ultimately reinstated her original death sentence. This case had so many people having so many opinions. Opinions like, oh, she was so determined to take his life. She could have just left the house if she hated him that much or saw evidence he was cheating. Others like, you have no right to unalive someone unless it is pure self-defense. Justice was served in this one. Others had opinions like, I've noticed a pattern with some second wives whom men left their first wives for. They have high insecurities and fear of being cheated on because they've been the other woman before. They know what their men are capable of, which is leaving them for another woman. When a man leaves their wife for you, it's not because you're special. He's just selfish and chooses their happiness above all. But Billy's friends have said was a completely different case with Billy. According to the friends, Billy's first wife herself said Billy left her because of Maryam's jealousy and overpossessiveness, that he had no peace in their marriage. Maryam was so possessive, you have to be with me, that ultimately Billy had to leave his first wife to be with her. But one could ask, he wasn't forced to do so. Ultimately, he chose to leave his first wife. Some people even have opinions like, I can never go to prison because of a man. Others had comments like, well, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Justice has been served. No peace for the wicked. Another, a typical demonic jealousy Jezebel in the house. I feel for the husband. He was literally a slave in his own house. But there was one comment, this person said, sad. Even if she didn't kill him after all, her earlier acts sold her out. Anger is devilish, and that's very true. Let's just entertain the thought that she ultimately didn't kill him. She didn't kill him. She's saying the truth. He fell by accident on the shard and killed himself. Let's just say her version is the truth. So many people saw her attempt to kill him. At least for one, the friend. So many attempts to stab him, according to the friend. And suddenly now you're telling us you were so peaceful and never attempted again once people left? No one's gonna believe that. That is where the case stands, sadly. A young man lost his life, a family lost a son, a child, or in this case, 2 children lost their father. And a woman once photographed and filmed celebrating her marriage eventually found herself at the center of a murder trial, screaming and calling for her mother. Cases like this forces us to talk about conflict inside of a relationship. It also raises questions about how society views male victims and female perpetrators. It also reminds us men can also be victims. Men can be targeted. Men can be love bombed. Men can be abused. Yes, these are traits that we mostly hear are being displayed by men, and the victims, women. Men could also be victims of such cases. I can't throw stones at her from my glass house, but all I'm going to say is she's guilty because the court found her guilty. And whether it's true Billy left his first wife due to her incessant jealousy or that he willingly, gladly left his first wife, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we all strive to be happy. And there's no report of Billy and the first wife sharing a child together or any children, which makes it much easier to move on with your life. So ultimately, yes, the first wife could be hurt, but is it worth being killed over? Is it a reason for him to be killed? I don't think so. And if he was cheating all over again on his second wife, well, it's still no reason to be killed. It's a good reason to leave him, but it's not a good reason to kill him. That's where I'm going to end today. I'm rambling now. Thank you so much for joining me today on today's episode. Do let me know what you think of the case. I'd like to know your thoughts, and if there were any information that were inaccurate or miscommunicated, please do let me know in the comment below. Please share this podcast with family and friends or any true crime lover. Thank you so much once again. I will see you in the next one, but until then, take care of yourself. Live and let live. Be your brother's keeper. Take a chill pill. Take care. Bye.